everyone, welcome to the next video in this series from Tiny Year by Agotapop. And we have another butterfly image. We did this one a while ago. We have this one now to have a go at. So let us come in closer and have a little look. I want to make sure it's a different colour to the last one, but apart from that, I haven't really thought about what I'm doing with it. Let's have a little look. Okay, so we have a number of florals, one on this wing. These two are the same, and then these all look different. So there's a lot of scope for lots of different colours, which is rather nice. Now, I'd say I want to do a different colour to the other butterfly. I'm thinking whether to do orange, like a sort of monarch butterfly. I think I might do that actually. We've got Polychromos. I'm going to start on the body of the butterfly and use my cold grey 5. It's not sunny today, so I've opened up my blind. Yesterday I was really struggling to see, and I can see by the quality of the colouring that I couldn't really see what I was doing very well. My eyes were really blurred, and today they're a bit better. I think my theory is that when it's really dark in the room, because I've got the blind shut because of the bright sunshine, and then my lamp is really glowing hard on the white paper, I think it gives me, makes my eyes not very happy. So today, as it's not sunny, I can open the blind. This is dark cadmium orange, and hopefully I will, my eyes will stay happier. Also, next door where I colour, not on video, where I sit is quite dark. It's not by a window. I'm going to make this bit black, and these dots and this edge, and we've got a bit like that in the bottom wing too, like this. So I think I'm going to keep that black too. So I'm going to just colour in between, really. So yes, I think that's my theory on it. I've been doing a lot of reading. I don't know if that's been causing my eyes a bit of strain as well. A lot more than I normally do. See, that tip's going to be black, but these bits in here aren't. But would have to use a bit of a lighter colour on some of those so they match this one. That bit's that bit, that bit's that bit. Just trying to make sure I do it in a symmetrical fashion. That bit there, I can't work out if it's one of that bits or that bit. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, as they say. This is the orange glaze. I'm going to go over what I've done. So, yeah, I did speak to an optician about it quite a long time ago, and he said it could very well be the light. And once it gets brighter weather, maybe it would improve. But actually it was a lot worse. The worst it's been yesterday when it was very bright. So I don't know, but I went to bed and I read, and my eyes felt a lot better because I was in a dark room with just a lamp on. And then I put my book down for a while because my son was upstairs and he was chatting to me. And then I picked it up again, and I didn't put my specs on. This is cadmium orange. I put the lamp back on, and I could still see well enough without my specs on. So, and they are very focal, so for everything. I'm going to take the colour right to the edge. With this one, there's a bit of a mystery. I don't know if anyone else gets it. Sort of. So it isn't really, doesn't feel like it's blurred. It's almost double vision. And yeah, I think that's all I can really say. So it is blurred because it's double, so I don't actually know what I'm colouring, whether I'm colouring inside the right line or not, because there's two. And I don't know. It's hard to describe. But it makes everything quite tricky. But there we go. I was going to go for a walk yesterday evening and see whether it got rid of it, because I was thinking if I go out and I start looking long distances over the hills, you know, towards the hills, then that will help. But in the end I just sat in the garden with a cup of coffee. My husband went and sat outside, so I went and sat with him on the new benches that I had been varnishing, so that was nice. It'd be nicer when the cushions are ready. But the benches were really hot. The sun had been shining on them all day and it had moved round, so there was no sun on them, and they had absorbed all the heat of the sun. This is black. I'm going to do the black bits now. It will just help me see help me to choose the colours for the flowers, I think. If I put this black in, there's a bit here, I think that might be black, and this bit. Yeah, so it was like sitting on a radiator. It's really warm. So that was interesting. It was unexpected. But they were nice and dry, apart from there was a little bubble in one of them where I'd painted, and the varnish did them upside down to start with to do all the underneath. A few blobs of varnish had dribbled onto the seat and sort of stayed there, and I hadn't sanded them back or anything. I just tried to paint over them, and it's left these sort of little blobs which are raised, and I could squash them with my finger as if they were like had air in them, or they weren't completely dry. It was very weird, but there'll be a seat cushion over the top of it, so I didn't. I mean, a perfectionist would sand it back, do it again, but I'm not, so I didn't. I think this is going to look more like a monarch butterfly if I thicken the other black lines, these ones. So I'll do that in a minute once I've completed this edge bit. My son is singing. Both of them are doing some work this morning. It's Sunday. We've all had a bit of a lie-in. Well, I woke up at 20 to 6, but I was reading in bed, so that was nice. I'm finishing my last Laura Ingalls Wilder book, which is my last one that I've got is Farmer Boy. It's the third book she wrote, but because it's a sort of separate story, I left it till last. I wasn't going to read it. I don't know why. I remember reading it once as a child and not liking it very much, but actually I'm really enjoying it, so that's good. And so I was reading that. It was quite funny because he was describing his bath and how he hated having a bath, and how he would wished he could just put on his clean underwear and not actually bath, but he knew his mother would check. It's quite funny. It reminded me of why I dislike baths. This is dark cadmium yellow, because he said if he turned his body towards the heater, if he turned his back to the heater, his front was cold, and if he turned his front to the heater, his back was cold. And that's what I hate about baths too, is how cold I always feel. I'm either too hot or too cold. So obviously in the summer it's not that cold, but I feel that I get overheated, and when I stand up I feel dizzy. And then I should have used this first, this dark cadmium yellow, because I'm smudging the black, but trying my hardest not to smudge it too much. Yeah, so either if you've got soap bubbles that are all cold clinging around you, or your bits of your body that aren't under the water are cold, or when you get out you're cold, or you're just so hot I feel like I'm going to faint. Not a fan. Right, I'm going to start with a purple. These two flowers here that are the same. I'm going to do them in manganese violet to start with. I'll probably add another colour as well, but we'll see how it goes. So here is our manganese violet. And my aim is just to put them darker near that centre bit, and then fade them off towards the edge. So I'm listening to my son calling his dad. I thought he was up here helping him, but obviously he was downstairs. But because I want to help him today, he did very well yesterday actually with his assignment. But at the moment he's doing programming. I can't help him, so I thought I'd come and make some videos. I've got a few things I want to do today as well, but I thought I'd do this first. What I'm trying to do is make it darker where they're overlapping. Yeah, I want to clean the balcony and the kitchen window, and we're going to do the next one the same way. And I've got a video call with my family later, but I could be editing these videos then, so that'll be fine. It's quite naughty, isn't it? But sitting and just chatting all seems a bit idle. I don't know, I'm just not used to it. So when we're doing video call, I'm always doing something, whether it's colouring or not. If I visit them in person, I don't. And when my mum used to phone me more often, she doesn't phone me as often anymore. I used to walk up and down the room when I was on the phone and get a bit of exercise, especially during lockdown when I wasn't really going out. It would give me my exercise, which was always good. But nowadays I tend to go out for my walk, and when she calls me, I'm usually do a bit of colouring or something like that. And I am paying attention to her, you know, more so than the colouring. Now I'm grabbing this mauve and I'm just going to do, see, we've got these bits in the middle. I'm not going to do that very centre section. I'm going to do that in black, I think. Just thinking, no. I'm going to go over this whole section in this mauve. I'm not going to do it in black because the butterfly's got black on it, and it might just end up looking like we're looking through that gap to the butterfly, and it might be a bit confusing visually. So we do it like that. Now I think we want a pink. We're a bit lacking in pinks in the Polychromos, I think. Whoops. I'm going to use the pink carmine for this flower here. I think it's more of a reddy pink, but I think it'll work together with the manganese violet. Okay, and because we're going to do a big mix, got a little one there as well, got a big mix of colour, so I think it'll work, because it'll, once we're done, it'll look very bright and colourful, hopefully. So this one I'm just pulling more layers in the middle and less towards the tip. Could build up a few more colours, but I think I'm quite happy. I really like this colour, sort of pinky red, rather nice. So I think I'm just going to leave it like that. We will need to do something with the centre though, of course, and I am going to grab the cadmium yellow and fill that in. But because we've got a little loop there, I'm just going to sharpen this pencil. I'll just tell you what it is. It is the brown ochre. Brown ochre. And I'm going to go just around where this line is here. Just a little bit there. Like that. Just a little detail. Now this flower is pretty, isn't it? I can't work out what's the I think, yeah, the sort of heart-shaped petals, aren't they? I think I'm going to do that in a blue. I'm going to use a phthalo blue. I don't think we've used phthalo blues on this page. This is the middle phthalo blue. I'll start with that one. Sharpen it. I think I'll just use the middle and the light, probably. I can hear a siren outside. Beeping their horn as well, going through the traffic lights. I'm fading that off, but I will, as I say, bring in the other colour. So you don't need to go all the way to the edge. yeah, so it was okay sitting in the garden, but as always, I sat there and noticed that there was loads of bindweed growing through the fence, so I couldn't just sit and relax. I had to get up and weed. And then this morning I noticed there's some more light phthalo blue. It grows madly. But there we go. It's my fault because last year I let it grow on the fence because I thought it was prettier than looking through the fence, and it's obviously seeded itself everywhere, which just didn't occur to me. I was very, very silly. So I won't make that mistake again, will I? The centre of this flower, I'm going to grab the, what colour is that? Is that dark chromium? No, this one. I'm going to use the dark cadmium yellow for the bottom bit where the little dots are drawn on. I'm just sort of going to go over that bit with a slightly darker yellow, and then grab this one, which is the light cadmium yellow. It's a good bit of contrast on the rest of the flower centre. There we go. Now we've got this little tiny flower peeping through. Can you see it here? I think we could go with the light pink. I'm thinking the light magenta might be our best bet. Now I do have some pastel Faber Castell pencils which have a really light pink, but I don't have them in here. That would be a good colour. Here's the light magenta. But yeah, as I say, I don't have them, but they are a nice selection. I have actually put them together with my Faber Castell classic colour and used them with those because they're in a pencil case. These are still in the tin. I haven't got a pencil case for these yet. This is the Naples yellow. Just going to do the centre. Keep it simple because it's really small. There we go. Okay, now this one over here on its own. What colours are we sort of missing? We've got red and got orange. I'd quite like a lilac. I know such a colour doesn't exist, but we made one with our bluebells the other day. Can I do it again? Would it be too samey? I'm going to do it, that's what I want. So I'm going to do a violet, and I'm going to do an even light layer of violet. Like that. Then I'm going to get the light ultramarine. I'm lying, this is the sky blue. Picking up the wrong pencil. I'll get there in a minute. Here we go, light ultramarine. Go over the top of it. Maybe it's a little bit dark. But we can probably go over it with a white, maybe tone it down a tad. Let's see what we can do with our white. It might just end up really blending it rather than making it too much paler. There we go. Now I think the centre of that one could be quite pale. I am going to use this, the light yellow glaze, the middle. Now we have the leaves, and again, like in some of our other pictures, they all look the same. And I do want a sort of mid-green, so it's really tempting to just go for the permanent green and do them all the same. But I'm not going to use only one colour. Now we could colour these slightly differently. I'm thinking maybe we'll do the edges darker. I haven't done a leaf like this before on this page. and then fade it in towards the middle like that, leaving some space for the next colour. See what you think, decide if that's how you want to do it, because I'm thinking maybe this bit is closer to us, and by doing it like this it might help to give that illusion. Now these are small, aren't they? My goodness. They're not really going to be able to do too much with these, but I'll do my best to outline it round. There we go. Yeah, I was talking about the Laura Ingalls Wilder books, and my husband was saying it was probably all happening around the time of the Civil War in America. I wasn't really sure when that was. We don't learn American history. Surprisingly, we learn English history, which yeah, I'm sure there's no surprise there. I think if you study history to a higher level, then you would learn different countries' history. But light green, we tend to learn more from. I remember my history lessons and my boys' history lessons started around the same time period. I think we did a bit of sort of Ethelred and really ancient kings of Wessex and Mercia and things like that. But the bit I remember was really starting at the Norman Conquest, 1066, Battle of Hastings, and then sort of King William I and that sort of thing. Now I've got a gap here. I think that's most likely to be orange. Looking at the symmetry, we could do it green as if it was a leaf. I don't think that will look quite right. So I am going to grab, I think, the orange glaze and put some orange in there. Yeah, I think that looks right. Now I'm going to get a white pen and we're going to do some dotage. Dotage? No, that's not the same thing. Jelly Roll 8 Sakura pen. I'm going to do lots of little white dots in the centre of this flower to start with. And then some, oh, it's a very noisy tree. Around there and around here. Good, my son's laughing, that's good. Means his work might be going well. Like that, and then we've got to make that symmetrical. And then make up the rest basically. I'm going to grow the size of these circles as we go along here. I hope you can't hear him because he's swearing. He swears like a trooper, like his dad. I do try and tell him not to. Neither of them take any notice. I've missed all these leaves, haven't I? Were you telling me? Did I not notice? Let's go around there. Right, let's get that green back again, the light green. There we go. Now I'm going to get my dark sepia and go around them a little bit. Just put some shadows in. So, again, I probably should have done this before the white, but where leaves overlap, where flowers, petals overlap leaves, so just to put in a little bit of shadow just to separate them a little bit, and where petals overlap petals. I was going to go next door after this and get my coffee, but my son is talking away to himself. Sounds like he's being really productive. If I walk in, I might just disturb him. I don't want to do that. I may let my coffee get cold and make another video instead. There we go. Now, I don't think I want to do a shadow between the flower and the butterfly. but you can do if you want to, but I just feel like I'm quite happy with it looking like that. The only thing I haven't done is the butterflies little antennae here. Just going to do them with this one because I happen to have it in my hand and it happens to be a colour that will work. So there it is, we've got 2 left, which is quite sad. It's been a really fun page, but still 2 left, so not near the end quite yet. But thank you for watching today. I hope that you have a super day. Maybe you can spot some flowers or some butterflies, have some fun. Yeah, so happy colouring everybody and have a lovely day.